CUSStomers podcast, where technology's fast and biz is a blast.
In life and in business, time is precious. It's why customers stay or leave and why businesses succeed or fail. We're here to give a voice to everything that makes business, whether as a customer or as a CEO, easier and more rewarding. Welcome to the Customer Commerce Podcast. Let's dive in. Welcome, ladies and gents, to episode 5 of the Customer Commerce Podcast. I'm Jess, your host, and today we've got the one and only Mikel Lindsaar with us. He's the founder and CEO of StoreConnect, a man who turns chaos into order and is on a mission to empower small businesses. Honestly, what I wouldn't give to be a fly on the wall of his brain-juggling projects, meetings, and general life with the finesse of a circus performer. And let's not forget our branding maestro, David Brier. This guy could describe a brick wall and make it sound like a masterpiece. His words bring stories to life and life to stories. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Jess.
Hello.
I was going to say the check's in the mail for that intro, but it literally is, so that wouldn't work.
It is. Thank you so much for that, Mikel. Yeah, no this worries. It is getting more difficult. I'm going to have to do a little private Q&As with you guys and find out more about your personal lives because I'm running out. But so
hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to the episode.
Yes. And this episode is going to be around optimizing the D2C customer journey. And Mikel, do you want to tell everyone what D2C is and why StoreConnect is taglined as D2C solved?
Yeah, sure. So D2C is direct to consumer. And this is a category of business that honestly, pretty much every company should be getting itself into. And if you're not right now, you need to really evaluate that and check it out. But fundamentally, direct to consumer is where there's no one or no company or no entity in between you and the end user of your product, right? So just direct. And that's the simplest way to explain D2C to someone. Sometimes people think they're D2C, but they're not, where they're selling direct to consumer via Amazon or something like that. That is not D2C. If you're going via an entity or using a marketplace, if you aren't the one creating that customer relationship with that end user, you're not D2C. And the reason it's important is that you have to realize that if you're not the person having that relationship and having that identity with the consumer, then you don't own that relationship, which means every time you go to sell, you're going to have to create that relationship from scratch again and again and again. And that's not going to achieve what you need to achieve.
I was going to say it would almost be like getting married and always having your communication go via your mother-in-law.
Ooh, yeah. That's a good picture.
You'd lose a little bit of the control and probably...
God. There's the soundbite right there for the episode. That is hilarious.
You're going to have a tagline under the tagline. D2C
don't be your mother. Yeah, right.
And then what is it? What is it under that?
I don't know.
Like
D2C solved. Talk to your wife, not via your mother-in-law.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, cool. Well, now that we've got that all understood, we're now going to go into our Real Customers segment. So this is going to be our first ever Real Customer voicemail. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we have a website specifically dedicated to cussing almost around your online nightmare shopping experiences. You go onto this website, you record whatever rant you want to say about something that you experienced recently or something that you've just held on to and you really need to let it out. And you press the bright red button. You tell us we're going to share it on the podcast and we're going to talk about it a little bit and help businesses see that this is a problem and help them prevent that from occurring. So I'm going to play this one.
What gets me cussing is my experience online just before Christmas when I ordered a Christmas present 2 months in advance for my 92-year-old mother, and then closer to the date, no information, no tracking, can't get any information. Send an email, no email, Christmas goes, send another email. Sorry, we're really sorry about that, but we're having problems. And 2 months after Christmas, I finally get, we're having shipping problems. And finally, 3 months later, here's your money back. And if we handle the shipping, you'll get your product anyway. Of course, no product and no information. Just, you have to drag information out of people to find out where's your product.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That gets me. That could get me cussing.
I could swear on that one right away. I had the almost exact same experience. This is too common. It really is a situation. Who knows what the actual problem was with that company, but to not have that communication level, and it's not like this lady waited to the week before Christmas or something. It was like she ordered it in beginning of November or maybe late
Early, I think
October.
2 months before.
Yeah. And then for it just not to appear and no updates and no communication, it sort of sounds like, if I was to hazard a guess, it sounds like a company that launched a drop shipping business and made their site look fantastic, and then we're waiting for I'm waiting for a shipment to arrive from China that we've made bespoke Steve's, our mascot, and it's still not here. We were expecting to have it 2 weeks ago. It hasn't arrived, and shipping delays. This stuff happens, but yeah, buyer beware almost, but it's not an excuse. This just sounds like an organization that had too much traffic and did not have their systems in place to handle that spike in traffic. And that's really the danger, I think, in situations like this.
And if that's their normal, they're going out of business soon. That's the thing.
Well, they just refunded everyone's money and said they'll still send them the shipment. That's if that's not a loss, I don't know what it is. I think also for anyone listening to this who wants to leave a Real Customers episode request, put the name of the company in. We won't play it because that's, who knows what the actual reason is. There's no reason to sort of name and shame on just one thing. But then we can go have a look at the website and see if they're still around. Do they still exist? Were they a bit of a drop shipping company? What are some of the signs to look for a drop shipping company? And I can tell you one right off the top is, do they have a contact us page with an address and a phone number?
That's the point.
That is my biggest beef. I ran into this literally over this weekend, and I was ordering something and I just wanted to speak to someone. I had a simple question. It probably wouldn't have taken more than 2.5 to 3 minutes on the phone, but all I had as available options was chat or send in a request or this or that, the other. It's like, talk about these little simple points that alienate us as customers. It's like, guys, it's just amazing how much we will try and shortcut, put technology that isn't an actual substitute and satisfying enough for just a live person,
This is one of the key things in the customer commerce book that's coming out about being human and stuff is that if you look at the trajectory of business relationships 30 years ago, 50 years ago, like really pre-internet, right? And maybe even a little bit before that, it used to be a lot of small shops where the owner ran it. You would go in, you would get to know that owner. You're buying a suit from them. It's the fourth suit you've bought over 30 years from the same, like they know you, they can work with you. They know that you don't like tweed and that you like this and you don't like that. And they can communicate with you and they have that relationship, and that's the relationship. Then there was a shift of, well, that's inefficient, right? So now we're going to go to the department stores where we've got all these suits that they don't fit quite as well, but they're pretty good. And we can always tailor it. And you don't really need to know the shop assistant. And then what happened is the internet came along and everyone went, salespeople are just too expensive, man. Let's just rip all of them out and make the customers do self-service. And then you had things like Amazon and eBay and marketplace, all these big marketplace type websites come along where there's just zero customer support, even if you, that's not true. I mean, Amazon has some shipping support and things, but it's not like there's any sort of relationship building happening. It's here's the cheapest price and you can get it tomorrow. Do you want it? Yes or no? And then all the small businesses basically went, well, if it's good enough for Amazon, it's good enough for me, which is a complete falsehood, because the similarity is not similar. Like it's not the same class of thing here. Amazon is a marketplace and small business is a small business. They're not the same thing. And so now we have all of our small businesses trying to do an Amazon to stay competitive, and they're being forced into that bucket. But then the clients are going, but I just want to talk to somebody, I really think there's going to be a swing in business for more expensive products being offered with service. And I think if you're a small business and you're currently competing on price, you have a limited lifetime. Your solution needs to be competing on service and competing on knowledge of your clients and customers and what they need and what they really care about. Otherwise, you'll just get swept across, you'll get swept away by the incoming tide of these massive retailers. And it's only going to get worse with AI, because there'll be AI agents out there. And I'll say, AI agent, go find me the cheapest one of these. I know exactly what I want. I couldn't give a crap who I buy it from, right? And that AI agent will go and buy it. Or the alternate scenario is, when I bought this originally, it's a strap for a car, if anyone's wondering. It's a roof rack strap. When I bought this originally, I bought it from this guy, Joe, and I was going to buy a different one. And I was chatting to him in the store or online, and he said, you know what, for your type of car, this one's going to be better. It's actually a little cheaper, so I'm doing myself out of a little bit of money here, but it's the right strap for what you need. And you don't need that other one with the bells and whistles for what you're doing, just strapping a ladder to a roof rack every now and then. You don't need this super bells and whistles one. Get the cheaper one. It's going to be better for you. Next time I go to buy a roof rack, tie-down strap, or anything to do with the top of a car, I'm not going to ask an AI. I'm going to go back to Joe, because he cares. And small businesses need to, that's direct to consumer, right? That's this straight, I'm talking to you, I'm creating this relationship with you, and we're going to get there. And this company didn't do that for this lady. They were just like, we're trying to outsource all of our, like, they've outsourced their shipping. We're having problems with our shipping. That means they've outsourced their shipping, right? They've probably outsourced, they've got chatbots and email. So they've outsourced their customer support to email and chatbots. They've probably outsourced their packaging. Like, they've outsourced all of these things, and they're just trying to take a profit off the top. A very small profit, probably, in all fairness, but still. And you get this situation where no one wins. Now the company's going out of business, probably. Whoever that lady is, grandma, doesn't have the gift. It's just, it's a lose-lose.
Yeah. And I had an experience, and I want to show you the thing that I bought, because I bought this online this week, and I had the exact thing. And it's so weird where you hear it, and then when it happens to you, you're like, oh, the lack of communication really bugs me, because of this expectation that, well, we have email, so people should, if I email the email that comes up, and I was just looking up the website just to see if they do, if it's a drop shipping company. What did you say, Michael, that they, if you go to the contact,
it's not a hard, fast rule, but an indicator of a company that's not really set up for customer service is they have no way to contact them.
Gotcha.
Like, if there's no address, if there's no phone number.
Well, there's no phone number and there's no address, but there's an email, which is where I went to.
Okay. Yeah.
So last week, okay.
How'd you go with that experience, Jess?
Let me tell you right now. I was like a victim of an Instagram ad, right? I looked at it. I have no care at all for like hair care. I really don't. And yet Instagram got me. I was like, what is this thing? And then went to it and then looked at the products, looked at the reviews, looked at the videos. I'm like, great. Add to cart, add to cart, add to cart, check out, boom. then normally you would receive a confirmation email being like, cool, your order's on your way. Nothing for 2 days. And I was like, I'm leaving the country next week, which is happening. And I'm like, oh, I spent like $150 on like stupid shit that I didn't even really need. Is this actually going to get to me? So then I emailed them, no answer. And I'm like, this is so weird because they have like 80,000 followers on Instagram. They have lots of like influencer marketing. They have all this stuff. And I'm like, surely. So then I got a little bit more, not aggressive, but I was like, hey, this is very surprised. Like I was a little bit like, want to understand because I don't want them to be like, oh my God, what a, Karen
Crazy woman wants
type
a
of,
haircut product. Yeah.
And then I got a message being like, we don't know when your parcel's going to arrive, but it's definitely here because I wanted to know like the money's gone out of my account, but there's been no email confirmation. And then I said, okay, no worries. Then another week went by. And then I was like, hey, this is just a little bit disappointing. I understand, I'm trying to like be nice, but at the same time be like, give me my parcel, please. Anyway, no response. And then yesterday, 12 hours after I sent the email, I got a parcel. And this is the thing that I got, okay? So I'm showing, if you're listening, this is how random it is. So it's conditioner and shampoo, but in like soap bars. So instead of like a bottle, you like have a soap and it's made out of like more natural ingredients. But I also got, can you see this? It's like a thing that you
holder.
Yeah. To your shower. Oops. And you put your soaps in there. So you put your conditioner, your body, and you stick it in. And then I got this other wax stick thing that like gels your hair back. Anyway, I got right into it, right? This is why millennials and Gen Zs are like the target audience for e-commerce, I think. But I got the package and I was like, this is not what I ordered, way less than this. But I opened it up and they put like, I think these 3 products completely for free. But there was no message at all.
Totally random.
But I think,
and you're like, did I get the right product?
Well, yeah, I definitely got the right products, but I think they put it in for free because they were like, oh God, she seems angry. But then there was still no communication. So even that, I'm like, oh, that's nice. But because there's no communication, it's like,
it's still a mystery.
It's still a mystery. And it still annoys me, even though I'm like, great, I'm excited to try them, however random they are. But no communication.
Lack of communication. And, the other thing, though, is that people trying to build D2C brands underestimate the volume of communication required. And if you're relying on a person sitting at a computer to send out your thank you for your order emails and your order's been picked emails and your order's been shipped emails and, hey, did you get your order emails? And thank you for using our product. Can you give us a survey emails? If they're not fully automated, you're screwed as a business user, because what will happen is your attention is going to be stuck on handling these important but automatable emails, right? Those ones are automatable. It's fine. You can send out a, hey, thank you for your purchase. This is what you ordered. This is what it is. This is the expected delivery dates. People expect that to be automated. But if you're not automating the stuff that can be automated through a product like StoreConnect or whatever else you're using, then you're going to be chewing up all of that valuable time where you could be answering the actual emails that people are sending you and wanting a human response. So you've got to free yourself up. You have to do the automation. Don't automate away the customer relationship. Automate away the standard information so that you have time to build that customer relationship. And that's really the difference here. And that's what I think, in your case, they're probably so madly trying to handle the flow of traffic on the standard because it's not automated enough that they don't have time to answer your emails because they're just flat-footed and they don't know how to handle it anyway because they can't look it up. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's perfectly moves us into the questions that I want to get into, because it's all about optimizing your customer journey, which I think from another episode, Michael, you were talking about how really making it as easy as possible for the customer to go on, order, and then be like, great, okay, it's on its way. So I want to touch on that. And the first question I have is, what's an unnecessary tool, project, program, however you want to kind of word that businesses obsess over or get fixated on in order to grow or smoothen their customer journey that actually is a waste of time? What do you think?
I would say anything in the early stages that is not going to directly get you a new relationship or sale. So to put that in context, when you're trying to grow a business, quantity trumps quality at the early stages, right? And if you can afford quality, do quality, absolutely. But you need to be getting that repeatable pattern going. So obsessing over, unless you're like an elite luxury brand, in which case this matters a lot, but obsessing over 5 pixels on whether or not you want your logo a little bit bigger or smaller is not going to get you the next sale at the same level as what it would benefit you if you rewrote your main product's copy to make it compelling and interesting, or shooting another video of a bit of content or something like that. So I think there's a lot of this sort of trying to tweak something that isn't really going to make a big difference in the grand scheme of things. You know, you might win that 1% extra, but there are things that you could do that are much more comprehensive. So I would say fiddling with website layouts and designs as opposed to just getting the content on there and producing it. What do you reckon, David?
I have a cousin. I have a cousin to that, which is that's sort of similar obsession, except the obsession is from the viewpoint of the business owner. Like, they just love XYZ that has absolutely nothing to do with their audience. And so, but to them, it's really, really important. And so they spend and invest all this time and energy and attention on things that are not really relevant to their audience. Like, as you were describing what you were talking about, there's a client that for a brand that I grew, that went from literally kitchen table startup. This was a mom of 4, very big imagination, a lot of creativity. She needed to channel it. And this literally was a startup. And then it became a multi-million dollar thing. And she sold it, and she's a millionaire. And we recently went out to coffee, and she's like, thank you, David, so much. Da, da, da. But the interesting thing was, the things that she obsessed about were perfect because her audience were women like her. So she could obsess. And as a result, she didn't have to shift her judgment. She was a really good, even though it's a 1-person sample, right? It happened to work out because it was the same type of, she's having, because it was in this sort of the party favor space. And that whole element really worked out very, very, very interestingly. But that's the thing. I mean, I've seen companies, oh, this is really important. And I always ask a 2-word question: to whom? That's it.
Yeah. And it's the other thing that people will do is they'll ride their favorite hobby horse. For me, it's software development. I love software development. I still do software development. I wrote a patch for StoreConnect on improving something 2 weeks ago and got it shipped. And I did that all weekend. And that was my weekend entertainment, in between everything else, family and whatever. I'd sit down and I'd do some coding. But if I hadn't shipped that patch, the world would have still continued. We would have still sold some StoreConnect and, everything else. And you could argue that it probably would have been better use of my time to answer the email that David was sending me about something to do with branding. But it was my hobby horse. It's something that I do as a release. And it's fine to do that on occasion. If your hobby horse as a CEO is going and being on the retail floor and selling a customer, you can use that to your advantage if you then take those learnings and switch your hobby horse a little bit to, well, let me understand what my customers are saying, and then I'll take that data back in, right? I keep my hand in on the technical side because our product is a very highly technical product. And by keeping my hand in on it, I'm able to answer very, very technical questions in very high level meetings. So I can sort of use that as well, but I'm not coding all week, and that's really where, what's your ice cream in your business? You can't eat ice cream all the time. You have to eat your Brussels sprouts and veg. Yeah, no, I want more ice cream, Jess.
No, but that's a good point. I mean, I'm a sucker for visuals, and I know many friends who have, I want to make t-shirts, and I want to go into skincare and all that, and they get so into like, I want my my hobby horse or whatever is creating a beautiful website, and it's with Squarespace or it's with whatever, because it looks beautiful, but yet it could be slow as hell. None of the you can go onto one thing and it says error page or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and yet you get so sucked into the glamour of it, because also there's ads everywhere on Squarespace and Instagram, and everything looks so beautiful, and it's like, if I have to have a business, it has to look just as shiny and pretty as this, rather than it has to work.
And there's that is really poignant, because the aesthetics do matter, especially in the beauty industry, right? You have to be aesthetic. It's a truism. People buy things that generate beauty from things they consider beautiful, be it the website, be it the person selling it, be it whatever. That is a fact of human nature and life, and there's nothing you can do about that. But as soon as, if you're going to do that, then do it, and don't have errors and things on your site, and don't make it slow, because then the human nature goes, oh, that beauty's only skin deep. And they instantly lose trust. You are coming across as this beautiful brand, but I click the About Us page and it goes to an error page, and I click this page and it's a bit broken, and that link doesn't quite work. You'd be better off removing all of the extra menu options and everything, and just having a single page with a single image that says, buy this amazing product, click here, and it goes to a checkout that works. Get that working, get that beautiful at the absolute minimum level of complexity. Make that work, get your product out there, and then the next thing you put on your website is just testimonial videos from people that have bought it. That would be the simplest thing to create. You could do it in a single day in Squarespace, and then focus your energy on creating relationships. Go get 5 of your best friends who love beauty like you do, and get them to try your product, and take some real raw live videos about them and with them and of them, and throw them up on the website and make them brand ambassadors, and have fun with it, and be a bit insouciant, and don't worry about that technology side. Just make it work. That'll take you so much further.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we live in an era where I'd say that we're kind of like in the, it's too good to be true. There's that. I think we're just like 1 or 2 layers away from that. All you need is just, oh wow, something appeals to you, and all you need is just 1 or 2 missteps, and all of a sudden the house of cards falls apart. And I think that there's that. So it's like, if something, and that's why we're so surprised and pleased when you go, wow, you see something, and that part worked, and that link worked, and that link worked, and your hope is restored. But I think
true. You go through a sales process nowadays, and if it's all good, you're like, oh my god, this was amazing. But all they did was they sent you 3 emails saying that the shipment's coming, and it arrived on time. Yeah. Like, that is now the bar of incredible service.
Yeah.
So true.
It's sad, but it's true.
All right. So now to, what's the word? Seesaw?
Segue?
Segue. Well, no, to
juxtapose.
Maybe juxtapose, but to seesaw that the unnecessary tool or fixation. What would be a tool / technology, or even a tip that you would recommend for businesses to focus on which we've kind of talked about, but what do you think is a thing that it's like, yes, if they nail that, that's the first thing that they could do, and that will, enhance that customer journey?
And to answer this question, let me introduce the brand maestro, David Brier. I was going to call you David Maestro. I mean, David Maestro
They
works.
introduced him like that.
The brand meister. We'll call him the brand meister.
Do you want to do that again, Michael?
We should play that exactly as it went. That's like perfect.
Raw and real. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was focused.
It's what you do.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. So it's like give me. I want repeat the question again. You edit this part out, but repeat the question again. Just because I was literally so focused on it, like because I was totally expecting Michael to respond to this. I was literally watching you communicate to Michael. I wasn't even fully receiving it myself.
All right, David Brier, this is your question.
Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready to receive it?
None of this out, just to be clear.
Absolutely.
Okay, David, go ahead.
Different. No, I have to give him the question again, Michael.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fine. David
Brier, in the past episodes, we've talked about the importance of making it as easy as possible for the customer to purchase from the website. What's a tool / technology or tip to be able to do this that you would recommend?
Oh gosh. As far as like making it the easiest to eat, a tool to make it easiest to purchase from a website.
Or a tip that a business can go and implement right now and go, cool, this is the thing that's going to make it a lot easier to get my customers on site, purchase it, and make them happy and dandy.
Actually through to David because I was thinking the tip would be make sure that you've got some differentiation.
To Michael's point, so obviously the one thing that's very, very, very common, there's a lot of focus that companies put on, hey, let's work our offer, and that's like to make sure the bonuses are right. And they got all these little gadgets and little tricks and gears and stuff and levers to kind of sweeten up the deal. But what they have failed to do, fundamental prior to that, as a foundational point, what's the thing? And this is a principle that I basically use. Anybody who works with me knows this. That different is better than better. Why is that relevant? Because of the fact that better still keeps us in the same competitive landscape as the others. So we're better than them because they have 12 wonderful features. We have 15 wonderful features. Oh, or they're doing it for 149. We're doing it for 139 plus free shipping. So, it just becomes this little teeter totter of like, oh, tit tat, back and forth. The thing is that why should, and it's the $64,000 question that I always put forth. Why should someone care? Why should a prospect care about what you're offering? If we can't concisely state that and crystallize what that point of difference is, well, because you're accustomed to doing things this way, and this costs you time, money, this, that, blah, 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 blah. And these are all the things that you have to endure using the existing options. We've now actually come up with this that simplifies things, accelerates things, allows you to spend more time with your family, allows you to actually look better, feel better, this, that, the other. What are the points of difference that are just beyond features, but they're actually differences? And the most ideal, if you really take that to its ultimate, you really start creating a new category. You upset the apple cart. Everyone's been talking about XYZ for so many years or decades, and we come along, and I love discovering the little things that go like this. How come no one's actually asked that question before? Because they were freaking lazy, because they were complacent, because they were fine on doing things the way they've always been done. And they didn't say, can we make it better? Can we actually change the benchmark for what's the acceptable standard? So that is the thing that it's a mouthful. I gave you a lot more than kind of like a tool, but it is really, from a strategic standpoint, it's a strategic tool and it's a strategic orientation, which will then impact what are the tools you're going to implement to now leverage that incredible distinction.
Okay. And so then that, I guess, moving it towards the customer journey, like optimizing the customer journey so that it's smooth. That then comes down to
platforming and what technology you're using and things like, I've hammered technology earlier in the episode of dehumanizing and desensitizing the customer relationship. But the truth is, in the modern economy, you cannot succeed without utilizing technology. It's just the way it is, unless you're, the Japanese sword shop that makes samurai swords, and they've been doing it for 4,000 years, and they're at this little place in a small village, and people fly there to go and buy a sword from them because they've been around for so long that everyone just knows them, and they can charge X thousands of dollars for a sword each time, and they only have to sell one a month, and they're profitable. Starting that sort of business today is, well, let's just call it impossible, right?
Damn it.
But I'm thinking about one of our clients, Beyond Plumbing, fantastic group of guys. So 3 blokes in Australia, and Australia, a bloke is a very specific name of a type of person, and these guys are absolutely blokes. They're larrikins. They have a huge amount of fun and time. But there were 3 plumbers, and they got together and went, we want to start a business to sell plumbing supplies to plumbers online at a cheaper rate than what is being advertised, because we want to build a relationship with our plumbers, and we're going to do it a bit differently, where the plumbers have to register with us to order the supplies, so that we're not publishing the prices online, so that our plumbers' customers aren't like, well, I could buy that. How about I buy it and then, at a discount and blah, 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 blah. Like they realized that plumbers had this problem of they just have to go to the hardware store like everyone else to buy the same elbow joint, and they're not getting any discounts on it, even though they're in the trade and they're ordering lots of it. So they identified a gap in the market. They're all plumbers, so they knew it themselves. They created this brand, and the first technology purchase they made was Salesforce and StoreConnect, which for a 3-person company at the time was quite trailblazing. Not many people have gone that route. But now what they're able to do is, because they've done that, they're just able to scale. They're not having to re-platform. They're not having to go, well, the WordPress website's now falling over because of the traffic, or this auto repeater that we put into our email programs now not handling the volumes we need, or we don't know how to balance this stock management and tell clients that it's not coming in time, or whatever. They can just keep building and building and building and building and building. They're not having to re-platform. And I guess that would be my tip, somewhat self-serving, but it's still my tip to business owners looking at growing their company, is get on the right platform if you can from day one. Get one that can just scale with you, because you don't want to be sitting there when you've got that traffic through your amazing branding. You don't want to be sitting there trying to re-platform at the peak of your incoming customer flows. That's the last time. You don't want to be looking for a fire blanket when the fire's raging. You want it right there, right then.
Yeah, no, what you said is totally on point, though. I mean, because if you have the foundation of what your brand stands for and how it's different and its set of values, then you can make actually informed decisions on, that's why we're going to choose StoreConnect, because it totally gives us this power with regard to this, or we're going to choose this, or you're going to say Salesforce allows us to have, whatever the options are. Those tools will then only be valuable to the extent that they actually amplify and multiply what we stand for. So it actually is, it's the guiding, it's like your North Star. It's like, oh, okay, that's where we're headed.
Yeah. That totally makes sense. Beautiful. Well, that was fun. I think that's a good place to end off. No, but it all makes sense. It perfectly answers all my questions, and I'm sure many other people's questions listening. And I think we're just going to keep having fun every week. We're bringing you these...
And we have to send that real customer a Steve if they left their address. Make sure they get a Steve.
That's right, because if you send in your real customer, you get a Steve.
If you tell us how to get hold of you. Because it is an anonymous website, right? So we've had a couple of people leave messages without an email address or whatever, and that's fine. You don't have to put your name to it. But if you do leave your email address or leave a way for us to contact you and we feature you on the podcast, we will send you your very own Steve.
Because our customer service is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, it better be. Holy crap.
No, it definitely is. All right, gentlemen, that's a wrap for the 5th episode. Please don't forget to submit your stories at realcustomers.com. Your experiences help us learn and they help us grow.
And
Michael,
customers
David?
with a double S. Thank you.
With a double
Thank you,
S.
Jess.
All right,
Thank
see
you,
you guys
Jess.
later.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you had an awesome time leaving you with ideas on how to improve your business and wow customers. If you'd like to leave a real customers story, head to the link in our show notes and cuss away. Love the show? Please subscribe and leave a review because that enables us to help more businesses in building real relationships with customers and grow more rapidly. See you next time.